Hi everyone. Well, this is maybe take two for the video. I tried to record this last night in the hotel, and I apparently lost the whole thing, and it was over 22 minutes long. So maybe that's a good thing because you guys probably didn't have time for a 22-minute video. But that one's gone now for some reason. I don't know what happened to it, and normally I can't make recordings or be on the phone in the clinic, but I was able to ask for a special room for a couple minutes to try to pull this off. So I will try to make this quicker than the last one, but there's a lot to share just from what happened between earlier last week and now Wednesday of this week. So the last thing that I left off with most of you guys was that it was up in the air whether I was going to be able to come here or not to this clinic, and I never got to share why. Really, the situation that came up was that I found out they were diffusing oils, and I've just been too sick to be around oils right now. So my practitioner told me it wouldn't be worth coming because of that situation. But every other door had opened up, so I was really confused, and I just spent some time praying about that, and I felt like God was saying, go ahead and come, even though that's kind of scary. So I went ahead and came anyways. I'm glad that he didn't tell me everything that was going to happen once I got here, or I don't think I would have come. It's just been crazy, 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 and yet so important that I'm here. So thank you so much for all your prayers. I'm struggling with I'm a bit more than a bit short of breath at the moment, and I'm trying to talk fast because there's a lot of information to cover. But if I just wanted to let you know in case I'm like gasping for air and every now and then, it's because I'm a little distracted with that. But so backing up to last week, I did make the decision to go ahead and come, and then I realized I've got to fill out all the forms, and they're online forms, but they were so complex. I have never done any that extensive in my life. The dates were the hardest part, symptoms and dates and all kinds of history. So that took me a long time because I could only do so much at a time for so many hours before I'd have to take a break. And I was still working on it up until Friday night, hadn't packed or anything like that. Hannah Moore arrived on Thursday night to drive me out there on Saturday. And so Friday she was hanging around. I was still working on stuff, and then I didn't start packing until Saturday night. Sorry, not Saturday night, Friday night. And then we didn't get to bed till after 2:30 in the morning. We also ozoned her car that night because that can help with potential mold issues. Her car had some potential leaks in the past, so we just wanted to make sure it was okay for me to be in it for 8 hours in that enclosed space. So we ozoned it, which I'd done to one other car before, and it had been fine. And apparently this time it didn't air out the way I was expecting it to. So the next morning it was incredibly strong still and too much for me to be around. So between that and just always all the loose packing details and not getting enough sleep, we didn't leave until 2:45 in the afternoon. So the drive went pretty well. We had a good time getting there. Our only little detour was pulling off on some dirt roads in Kansas at one point where we saw some amazing stars because we were trying to find a gas station, and apparently the GPS was not taking us the right way. So we did not drive for 39 miles on a dirt road to find a gas station. We looked at the stars and then we went another way. But that was a fun little detour. Other than that, we only stopped for gas like once or twice and made it there. When we arrived on Saturday night, it was already after midnight Central Time. And we pulled up to the Airbnb. It looked a lot older than I expected. We went inside and it was really cute, but strong musty odor, really strong mold smell, along with the oils that I knew they were going to be using there. And I stayed inside, mask on, mask off, for at least 15-20 minutes, and just knew it wasn't going to work, and it was really overwhelming. Hannah could smell it too, and she's not even anywhere near as sensitive as I am. So we came back out to the car, tried to regroup. I started calling hotels, called a number of hotels in the area, but none of them could clean a room without chemicals that late at night. So we decided we'd have to sleep in the car. I also tried to get in touch with every single person in the area that I knew, and pretty much everyone was probably in bed. So went ahead and rearranged the car, and she stayed in front seat. I was in the back seat. I wouldn't necessarily call it sleeping, but we definitely got some rest and downtime, and got pretty squished, but it was good. And she cycled the car heat on and off throughout the night, so our gas bill kind of turned into our lodging bill instead. We made it through the next morning, started all the phone calls again. Um, Sorry, breathing break. I started all the phone calls again, and then a couple hotels said they could clean some rooms with green cleaning instead of the chemicals. We could come check them out. Found some other Airbnbs to look at. And then the most amazing provision was that a friend of mine back in Maryland, who I was not even texting about, I just texted a prayer request to, that she happened to respond and say, I have a friend in Wichita. She and her husband had just moved here last summer, and so this lady immediately called me and said, come over to our house, we can help you out. And that was just the biggest kindness. So we drove over to her place. They let me use their kitchen while they headed out to church, and Hannah went out and was able to get me some groceries, and then went out and catch her own friends who just happened to be in town from Japan, at a church in this area, and she wanted to catch them before they left. And so the timing of all that worked out, and that was amazing. And so I managed to cook my first meal since Colorado while I was in their house, and then everyone came back and we figured out what to do. Hannah took me to start driving me to a bunch of lodging options, and that was pretty discouraging. We went through, it feels like we went through 5 or 6, but I think we only went through maybe 3. We went to another Airbnb, and that was kind of funny because at first we almost walked into the wrong house. It was the same street name, but north-south version, and so we walked up to this house with aluminum foil on the windows and a cat bowl, and it looked like it had seen much better years. We were like, this can't be an Airbnb, and we almost walked in, and then we didn't. So thankfully we found the right house. That one turned out to be too moldy as well. It was pretty old, slightly better than the first one, but not good. So that was out, and then we went to another hotel. That one was out. Went to another hotel. That one was not good. But we weren't sure if we were going to find anything else. And as I was just standing up there and trying to breathe through the chemicals and figure out what to do, I suddenly remembered another place that I'd heard a lot of debate on from previous patients. A lot of people said never ever stay there because there's always mold and don't go there. But I just thought, I'm going to call them. So I did. They said, oh yeah, we just had a patient check out last night. So we have a first floor room with hard flooring, but it's been cleaned with chemicals, but you can come look at it. And so I decided I better do it. I went and checked it out. It was really strong with chemicals, but there wasn't any other option. And so I just felt like God was saying, I'm going to get you through, just make it. So I got my air filter in, opened the slider, just kept airing it out, tried to wipe down countertops, did all that kind of stuff. And honestly, by the next day and a half or so, it's totally okay now at this point. I mean, it's bare and it's okay, but it did take a little while. Thankfully it's quicker because there's no carpet in there. So that was amazing. And then the same lady who let me use her kitchen, she came over to take me to go get a phone charger because my phone decided to stop working right at the exact moment when I arrived. And I also broke a bunch of things falling out of the car. So anyway, I better not share all the details, but it was exciting. We got some groceries and the phone charger, and then I came back and tried to settle in, and it was so nice to get out of the clothes that I had slept in and actually sleep on a bed. I just used my own sheets and rolled up in those and made it work. And then she offered to be my driver because I had not found a driver yet, and Uber's pretty complicated right now. So she drove me to the clinic the next morning pretty early, and I came in, and it was just amazing to see familiar faces again, and just that was a gift. This is a new place I'd never been to, but some of the same staff, a few of the same staff, and some of the same doctors are here. So I got to see their beautiful place, take a tour of that, and then they went down to do my vitals and testing, and then after that went straight in to see the doctor, and that was great to have a reunion with him. It was really hard to fill him in on 2.5 years of stuff. I didn't quite really manage that too well, but gave him a little summary. And then after that, we started going over all my labs and the new testing they had just done. And that was pretty overwhelming. It was shook me up a bit. God gave me strength for it, but it was more unexpected for me. The numbers were pretty much just really bad in a lot of areas. On the paper, the way that they will graph it out from the lab work is things are marked in red if they are in a danger zone outside the expected safe range. and they'll be marked in yellow if they're in an unhealthy range where they're starting to, go south and not be good, and then out white if they're in an appropriate, acceptable range. And I had a ton more red and yellow than I was expecting in some pretty major areas like kidney function, liver function. Liver function still looks better than it used to, but kidney and liver platelets were through the roof. Thyroid stuff, blood sugar stuff, all kinds of things. I won't list it all here, but it was a lot. And then just looking at all the forms that I had filled out for them, and they do symptom review and all that, kind of give you a number. And he was like, "You're at I think it was 216. You should be," I think he said you should be at 50 or 30 or below. I don't quite remember, but it was a big number discrepancy there. So big gaps to fill. They told me that my biological age is 50, and so I'm significantly older biologically, according to the way that my body has aged and is functioning right now, than what the calendar says. I was feeling 80, so 50 is good, but I prefer it to be more my real age. And then a lot of the other testing they did showed just a number of really concerning areas for them. If you want to see a lot of percentages that they were getting for me were in the 90s when I should be in the 15s or 16s. I might be flipping that around. Maybe I was in the 15s or 16s and I needed to be up in the 90s to be healthy, that type of thing. So big gaps. It was pretty tough for me to face, but God has a plan and none of it is irreversible in him. So one thing about all that was that it confirmed at least why I feel so bad. And a lot of people don't get that on paper. A lot of people feel horrible and they don't have any evidence on paper to prove it. But so people think they're nuts when they're not. But I actually got evidence on paper. So after that, I did a bunch of therapies. Some of the therapies are brand new ones that I've never done before. Some are ones I've done in the past. They all seem to be extremely helpful, but I did them back to back and they just totally wiped me out. Really intense for me to do. Just kicked up a lot of stuff for my body to deal with. So that was tough but good. I feel like I'm forgetting some things, but I'll just have to keep going. And then, so there's not a lot of free time for me to really accomplish a lot in between because I'm just trying to recover from things and make it to the next thing and prepare my notes and questions for the next appointments and so on. Whew, sorry, really out of breath. I keep wanting to pause and restart over, but then I don't know how to edit the videos together, so I'm trying to press through. Yesterday, I guess, another good meeting with the doctor. He started me on several new things. Now I'm on 3 different plant stem cell forms, which are supposed to be really helpful. So that's been really good. It's always kind of scary to try new things, but it's always important to do if your doctor tells you that this is going to help you. So I did those, and then today he did a bunch more work on me as well. Found out some things I haven't even really thought through yet, some different toxins related to the mold that I'm dealing with. Some of the mycotoxins came up, and SIBO stuff, and just stuff in my gut that we've got to work through, and copper toxicity and carnitine deficiencies and all kinds of things like that, and a lot of genetic stuff that I have. I have a genetic issue with carnitine and so on, and so he's going to try to work on getting my body epigenetically to be able to make those changes. And so there's a lot of really important stuff. I've done some therapies today. I'm about to go do my last ones right after this. And yeah, so that is how that's going. And the lady's continuing to drive me back and forth. It's actually snowing today, nothing like Colorado, but it's kind of wet and messy out there. And then I just wanted to share some additional praise reports. Or I don't think I ever got to tell you guys, but thanks to your generosity, this entire week of treatment was covered by people who either gave to the GoFundMe or called the clinic directly, and even with some overage. And that is just blows my mind how gracious you guys are, how generous, and how amazing that is. Whatever is over is going to be used to cover follow-up appointments or supplements. Sorry, really short of breath here. So, but I did lose a lot of my lodging money because of the Airbnb not refunding all of it, refunding about half of it or less, maybe a little less than half. So I'm still short on covering, I think I'm going to be somewhat short on, I am definitely going to be short on covering lodging come Saturday for this week. The hotel should be maybe $100 less than Airbnb was, but I'm still going to be a little short. And then my gas was covered coming out here, but I don't believe that I have enough quite to cover the whole way back. Also, things like groceries I'm kind of short on because of it's been a tight month. And then one thing that I mentioned to the doctor today that he's considering is because I'm already all the way out here and there's a lot to do, and it's hard to, get out here and have a safe place to stay and have rides and all that, that it might be beneficial for me to go ahead and stay longer, either another week or for another 3 days of treatment, because that's what they initially do when a new patient first comes and it's been several years and there's just a lot to work on. So he's going to consider it and let me know probably by tomorrow or Friday morning whether that's something that I should do. If I were to do it, I can only do that if I were to raise additional amount of money to be able to stay. So I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if that will happen, but that's just a possibility. So yeah, those are some needs. Other prayer requests are just endurance and strength for me, clarity for the doctor to be able to know what to do, just mental space to be able to process things. There's a lot coming up for me mentally and emotionally and spiritually, for me to breathe right now. And I'm trying to remember. I had a lot of other notes, but I'm kind of blanking. What else? Yeah, those are some prayer requests. I'm sure if you want to find out more, you can just read the post I posted before in the text part. And then praise reports as well. Just the giving that you guys gave, the fact that I have a ride right now, that I get to be here at all, that the hotel has improved. Oh, another praise report is that I'm doing better with the oils here. I had to wear the mask a lot the first day, but I've been able to adjust to them more. So that's all improving, and that's the main issue. And then finally, I just wanted to let you guys know that a particular verse that's been on my heart lately is where it talks about in Proverbs how in his heart blanking for a moment, a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. And this trip has not gone the way that I've wanted it to, but God has definitely been establishing my steps. So thank you guys for your support. I love you guys, and I look forward to sharing more in the days ahead.